Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're very excited to share a new enhancement to our TPM1 Premier program. We'll be introducing our co-host from Eagle Point in just a moment. I'll introduce myself. I'm Mike Staples, Vice President of Experience at TPM. I lead our technical solutions, customer experience, and service teams. My background's in mechanical engineering. I spent about 12 years in consumer product design. And so as an engineer, I'm very passionate about improving efficiency and leveraging technology solutions to their fullest potential. So it's that passion that drew me to a career here at TPM. And that definitely aligns perfectly with the program that we'll be introducing today. I've spent the last 15 years here at TPM empowering industry professionals in the AEC and manufacturing space. So that's a little bit about me. Now I'd like to introduce some of our co-hosts here. With our partner Eagle Point Software, we've got Danny and Nicole, and looks like Will's joined as well.
TPM and educating their customers about our solution and being their go-to point. I have about 20 years of experience in the AEC industry, working for various partners, as well as a number of different software firms across the industry. Turn it over to you, Nicole.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody. My name is Nicole Rohusky. I'm a customer success manager here at Eagle Point Software. I've been here just over 2 years, and I actually stem from a background of learning and development. So we'll talk a little bit more about getting your individuals up to speed and running within your organizations a little bit later on. And then, Will, did you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, I can do that. Thank you very much. So like Nicole and Danny mentioned, my name is Will. I'm also one of the partner managers here. So very similar role as Danny. But with that being said, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Danny and Nicole are really going to be, and Mike as well, are really going to be the star of the shows here. So I will step back and let them get into their presentation here.
Great, thanks. So kicking off the webinar today, I'll provide a brief overview of TPM and our TPM1 Premier program for those maybe that are not already familiar with our program. And then, of course, we'll transition to Eagle Point for an introduction and deep dive into the main event, which is our latest announcement, enhancement to the program, Pinnacle Series. And so we'll have a live demo from Nicole, and we'll finish up by answering your questions. So throughout the webinar, any questions that you have, just please feel free to type those in the panel to the side, and then we'll field those questions at the end. Just before we kick things off, I want to do a quick poll here, just a couple of questions to get things started. So if you don't mind, just take a moment, just want to gauge the level of awareness of the audience on the call today. So what is your current level of awareness of our TPM1 program? No awareness whatsoever, I'm aware of the program, or I'm very aware of the program and the program benefits. Give it just a moment here. All right, split right down the middle. Nobody is not aware of TPM1, so that's a good thing. We have half and half that are moderately aware and very aware of the program and benefits. So thank you for that. Just one more poll question here. We're going to launch. Do you know what LMS stands for? Without cheating, without going to Google, do you know what LMS stands for? Also split right down the middle, 50-50. Oh, a little higher on yes. Great, so as a goal for the end of the presentation, hopefully everyone will be well aware of what LMS stands for, so just slightly higher on that. All right, great. So we'll get started with a brief overview of TPM. So as you can see, we are a very diverse business. We offer a wide range of solutions. We're proudly celebrating our 50th year in business this year. Our primary focus is really around digital transformation for mid-sized businesses in the AEC and manufacturing industries. We deliver industry-leading software and hardware solutions. As you can see, a wide array of offerings available on the wheel here. We do offer best-in-class technical support and professional services. And so really one of the reasons that we kicked off and launched our TPM1 program was to allow our customer base to be able to leverage our wide range of expertise. So that was one of the reasons that we kicked off the program. So you click to the next slide. More specifically, the program was really designed as an enhancement to our software subscription. The reason that we set up the program was so that we could add value in a way that nobody else in the market can. So the program, we can really boil down the program benefits into kind of 3 key areas. We're heavily focused on increasing productivity, providing exclusive access to program benefits, and industry-leading knowledge. So that's really the focus of today that we'll be taking a deeper dive into. So first benefit here, enhanced productivity. Really what we're talking about here is the TPM1 program includes a solution called Kobe Labs, which is an industry-leading set of tools that are integrated directly into your Autodesk solution. So Revit, Civil 3D, AutoCAD, native to each of those environments. There's hundreds of productivity tools that are integrated directly into your software to help save you time on repetitive tasks and things that we just do on a day-to-day basis to help save you time and eliminate some of the tedious, time-consuming repetitive tasks. Next, exclusive program benefits. We packed the program with a variety of things. So from accelerated support response times, access to our TPM1 portal, direct access to our team of expert consultants, and discounts on equipment and services are some of the value-added program benefits. And of course, one of the focuses, the primary focus of today is really all about learning. So whether you're new to a software solution or a specific workflow, or you're tackling something outside of your normal day-to-day job function, maybe some advanced capabilities within the software, or maybe you're a seasoned veteran of the technology solution that you leverage every day, and you're just looking to remain fresh on the latest enhancements and the newest capabilities that you can leverage. Really the learning aspect of our TPM1 program is one of the most valuable aspects. So go ahead and go to the next slide. So in summary, we've really designed the program to enhance your experience, providing improved software performance, giving you access to expert guidance so that you can implement standards, leverage industry best practices, and just ensure that you're able to elevate your productivity. So next, we'll focus our attention on learning. With that, I'll turn it over to the Eagle Point team.
Thanks, Mike, and what a great program. So yeah, let's start with a little bit about our company, a little bit of background. We've been in business for 40 years now. In 2006, we introduced Pinnacle Series. Pinnacle Series is our platform, our learning solution, but it goes far and beyond the training contained within it. We are one of the founding members of the Autodesk Developer Network. And today we have over 600,000 users in the Pinnacle Series platform. But what I want to highlight today is that we are still a company of architects, engineers, and construction professionals. And our team, our largest team is customer success. Our second largest is our development team. And I'm highlighting that because we create the majority of our content in-house and we own our platform. So we're constantly bringing out new updates and new features to the platform. And then of course, we use our customer success team to support our customers. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Nicole.
All right, perfect. Well, good morning, everybody. Before we dive into our demonstration, what I really want to do is set the stage for everybody to help understand the solution that you're going to see here today. So in 2006, we shifted from installed applications to focusing on an e-learning platform. So the poll that you initially took, the LMS stands for Learning Management System. And so what we were hearing right around 2006 from organizations is that they were struggling with the 3 core challenges you see here on your screen today. That includes continuous learning, knowledge capture and sharing, and increasing productivity. So to take a few moments to unpack that a little bit further and dive into that first challenge of continuous learning, this is one that most firms struggle with, and it stems well beyond onboarding new employees. With new features, functions, and versions hitting the market annually, it can be hard to keep employees up to date and in production. We are often hearing from BIM managers and CAD teams that they needed to upskill their staff, but it can be hard to gauge an individual user's skills gaps. Employees may be overestimating or underestimating their skills. So leveraging our Knowledge Smart feature, we're able to gauge an employee's understanding of a product today, and via Pinnacle Series provide them with a personalized learning path to allow them to upskill in those identified skills gaps. In addition, Pinnacle Series is going to house Autodesk and other AEC content that is going to be available for that just-in-time training. And lastly, to take this one step further, all of the content that is housed within Pinnacle Series is going to be customizable, enabling organizations to upload their own custom resources, plug and play that into the content, and provide that to their users. From here, we're going to transition to that second challenge of knowledge capture and sharing. Within organizations, you're likely to have pockets of knowledge, whether that's product experts, project teams that specialize in a specific product, whatever that may be. What we want to enable organizations to do is leverage Pinnacle Series to serve as that central repository to capture those best practices, company standards, workflows, enabling all of this information to be easily shared across your organization. The beauty of this is Pinnacle is not only tracking who's managing that content, but who is accessing that content. So all of these resources can be easily shared and accessed across your organization. And lastly, that third challenge of increasing productivity. Within the AEC space, it is critical that projects are completed on time, with high quality, and under budget. However, when users become stuck, that likely go-to method is they're turning around, tapping a colleague on the shoulder, and asking their question. Ultimately, what this is leading to is you have two people trying to solve one problem, which can lead to a fall in production. Instead, we want to empower users to jump into Pinnacle Series, run a search, and find their answer. All in all, the solution exists today to address these three core challenges. But before we dive into the demonstration here, I really want to take a moment to allow Danny to highlight the additional benefits of Pinnacle Series.
Yeah, so really, what's the real value of Pinnacle Series to you? How do you benefit? What's the return on investment? There's a bunch of numbers on the screen here, and I'd like to just sum it up for you. So Pinnacle Series really gives you the tools to attract and retain the best talent. With our platform, you're able to provide career pathing, career developing for your employees, which will elevate your retention rates, turn that churn down. Employees feel empowered and invested in. They're able to both upskill in the applications they use every day, as well as close their technology and knowledge gaps. This naturally leads to greater productivity for you and higher efficiency, which of course then turns into ultimately higher profits for your organization. So Nicole, take it away and show us what we have and how we do it.
All right, so we're going to dive into the main event here. So first and foremost, I do want to highlight that this is going to be a browser-based solution. So users are going to have access to this resource wherever they have internet access, whether it's a mobile device or a tablet, but they can even take it one step further and download content for offline viewing for a set amount of time, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Now, in addition to this, I do want to highlight everything on the homepage is completely widgetized. So organizations have the ability to establish custom layouts for teams or projects. What this ultimately does is set the stage to remove any irrelevant noise that's not going to be beneficial to your users. They can hone in on what they need, and they can jump back into their project work. Now, we are going to be servicing over 90 different languages, so if users do have a different set preferred language, they can set that upon logging in and learn in their preferred language. Now, directing your attention to the left-hand side of the screen here, organizations have the ability to link out to additional resources that are going to be beneficial to their users, whether that's an intranet, additional training resources, whatever may be beneficial to their users, you can highlight at the top here. Now, directing your attention to the asset libraries here. We like to think of these as containers of information that are going to house not only the custom content, but the out-of-the-box content as well. So what you'll note here is at the top, this is just going to be a depiction of how organizations can essentially pare down their libraries to allow users to navigate through. So thinking in terms of corporate best practices and standards, onboarding new team members, whether that is going to be role specific, or it can be an all-company piece. You can focus on professional development, and you can even break this out by studios or softwares, really whatever's going to be beneficial to your end users as they're logging into the solution. Now, down below here, we're going to have our out-of-the-box content. So this is going to be turnkey, ready to go on day one. It's going to range from Adobe to Autodesk. We're going to have Bluebeam, business and management skills, global BIM standards, health and safety, ID8, Microsoft, the SketchUp, and much, much more. But just for today's discussion, I'm going to go ahead and open up our Autodesk library. And what you're going to note is this is going to be our most robust offering. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into our Revit library. And at the top, you're going to notice that we're going to be servicing multiple version years, starting with 2024, stemming all the way back to 2012. Now, we recognize organizations are likely not operating in 2012. It's just meant to give you an idea of the breadth of information that exists within the solution. Organizations do have the ability to pare this down to the current version years that they're functioning in, essentially removing any noise that's not going to be beneficial to their users. Now, within each asset library, there's going to be 4 different asset types available to users. First and foremost, you're going to have learning paths, which will walk a user through a skill from start to finish. Think beginner, intermediate, advanced. We're going to have workflows, which will walk a user through a process from start to finish. And then we're going to have hundreds of documents and hundreds of videos. So these are quick tips or tricks for users to find their answers and they get back onto their project work. Now, focusing our attention on the My Courses area, from an end user perspective, users are going to be enrolled in courses in one of 3 ways. It's going to be something that a user opts to self-enroll into. It's going to be the result of a manager enrolling them in a course or a learning path, or it will be the result of a Knowledge Smart assessment. And what you're noting here is each of these Knowledge Smart trophies are indicating a personalized learning experience provided to those users. So leveraging our Knowledge Smart library, we're able to gauge a user where they are at today. So for instance, if you have an engineer working in interiors, you have the ability to come out here and assign an assessment to them. Or if you have a interviewee that you want to assess their current product understanding, ultimately what you're able to do is you're able to see what that user is being asked. It's going to be a mixture of knowledge-based and task-based questions. So do you know and can you do? And based on their assessments, these users are being provided with a personalized learning path. Now, from the administrative side as well as the end user side, you're able to provide your users with results, summaries of the assessment that they took. So let's say, for instance, if I dive into Annie Architect here, I can see how successful she was on this assessment. I can see questions that she missed, and essentially I can see what was asked, how she answered, and there's going to be coaching notes here. So you're able to remedy any error in that user's thought process before they move on to their project work. Essentially, you're reducing any rework that may be coming into play because of that instance. Now, I'm going to go ahead and dive into this personalized learning path here. And what you're going to note at the top is this user can, in this case, can see how many courses they successfully passed out of. So in this instance, I successfully passed out of 16 full courses. This is going to be a pared down learning experience for me to review. If I was curious about what was being provided in the entire learning path, I could toggle on show all topics, and anything that is dark grayed out is something that I've deemed proficient in, and I am no longer going to spend time training on those topics. But from an organization standpoint, let's say, for instance, this is 90% of how your organization operates. Leveraging our management utility, we're able to pull in resources that you've already developed. Think of Word documents, PDFs, PowerPoints, whatever that may exist as today. You would simply navigate to that resource type and you would simply drag and drop it into the platform to make it readily available and searchable for your users. But let's say, for instance, you wanted to modify that architectural fundamentals learning path. You could simply come out here and copy that down from what we're providing. You have the ability to essentially access that learning path, go to the course you want to modify, and simply hit add and remove for the content that you want to include and the content that you want to remove. So this is a huge time saver from a content manager perspective. When you're not having to develop or start from scratch, you can enable your users to access those resources. Additionally, from an administrative side of things, you can assign out those assessments to your users within the management utility, and you can manage any completed assessments. So let's say, for instance, we're bringing in an interviewee. I'm going to go ahead and grab a mapped Knowledge Smart assessment that's denoted by that Knowledge Smart trophy. Go ahead and select add. And from here, all I need is that interviewee's name and email to push it out to them, or you can push it out to current users. In addition, to take this one step further, you do have the ability to establish thresholds. So as an organization, if you deem that a user that scores an 80 or above on our assessment is considered proficient in a product, they are not going to be assigned any learning based on that assessment. The same thing goes for the lower threshold. So if they get below a 30, they're going to be assigned the entire learning path because it is deemed that they need to upskill a little bit further because they were not proficient enough. So you have the ability to manage those pieces within the management utility. Now, jumping back out to the home page here, I do want to highlight our live events calendar. So as an organization, we recognize that not all users are going to be a fan or prefer on-demand learning. Some users are going to prefer in some instructor-led opportunities. So here at Eagle Point, we believe in offering a blended learning approach, allowing users to register for sessions that are hosted on this calendar. These can be sessions that are posted by TPM, it can be sessions that are posted by Eagle Point, or as an organization, you have the opportunity to host your own sessions to allow users to register. But going back to that blended learning approach, if you will, essentially what you're able to do is you're able to couple the learning that exists within Pinnacle Series with that live event. So let's say, for instance, you're going to be hosting a lunch and learn. You're bringing in a vendor and you want to ensure that your users have a foundational understanding of what is being provided by that vendor. Essentially, you would establish a prerequisite course for that user to take. Essentially, the system is not going to allow them to register until they have successfully completed that prerequisite. And then upon registering, you can pre-survey and post-survey your users. So essentially, if it's a lunch and learn, you can ask them if they want ham, turkey, or roast beef. So you're getting your lunch metrics. And then the post-survey, you're either able to survey your users or provide any follow-up answers to questions that were asked during the session that weren't able to be answered at that time. Now, all of the sessions are going to be recorded and hosted on the calendar for users to be able to come back and watch and reference as needed. Now, additionally, the solution does allow you to map out career pathways for your users. We refer to this as role-based learning. So let's say, for instance, you're going to be bringing on a project manager to your organization and you want to highlight all of the key learning resources that are going to be beneficial for them. Essentially, what this allows for is them to jump into Pinnacle Series, consume that learning when they have time, and allow them to hit the ground running when they are functioning within that role. But let's say as an organization, you want to establish what's next for that user within your organization. Based on a conversation with their manager, it can be a linear approach, so what's next up, or a variety of different options for that user to select from. But essentially, if that ambitious user comes out here, they can start to consume that knowledge before they even are in that role. So as an organization, you can validate whether they consume that knowledge, and then whether it's an interview or just a natural progression and transition into that role, you can validate that they're ready to hit the ground running. Now, as an end user, they are going to have access to their learning center. And so their learning center is going to be essentially a transcript, allowing them to access anything that they've successfully completed. So in this instance, I have access to my enrollment history. I can come out here and jump in the SketchUp fundamentals, and I can see anything that I've successfully completed. I can download a certificate of completion in this instance, or I can download my entire enrollment history if I need to provide that to an accrediting body. I have that as an option. But to take this one step further, let's say, for instance, you have users going outside your organization. They're doing professional development hours, continuing education units, they did a PMP, whatever that may be. The solution allows you to allow users to report any external learning that they've done outside the platform. And as administrators, you can approve, you can deny, you can show what's pending, and ultimately it's allowing you to have one central location for all of the reporting needs, for all of the learning that's occurred internally and externally from your users. Now, as an administrator, you are going to have access to the learning reports that are being provided within the solution. So let's say, for instance, you wanted to take a look at what users are consuming in the last year. You can see what users are currently enrolled in, what courses have been completed, who the top learners are, the overall learning time that's been consumed within the platform, as well as how users are progressing through the learning paths that they've been assigned, what courses are coming due, and then if they've registered for any of the sessions that are hosted on the calendar and if they've completed them. But let's say, for instance, you wanted to dive into the granular detail of these reports. Essentially, you would select the report details, and it's going to allow you to see a snapshot of the learning that's being consumed by your users. So in this instance, you can see the unique users that are coming in, but you can also take this one step further. And this is set up to default by username and learning path, but you do have the flexibility here to hone in on specific areas. So let's say I was more worried about the status of a user in an instance. So I can pull up that status column, I can expand this out, and essentially if I pick on myself here, I can see what I've been consuming and what I've successfully completed. And as I scroll over here, I can see that end users' interactions with the learning paths and courses. So I can see percent of content that's been reviewed, the actual viewing minutes, and if there was a quiz, you can validate whether or not your users are retaining that information that they're consuming in an instance. So there's a lot of details from the learner side. Now, that is a lot of information to digest. Now, we recognize as an organization, users are likely not going to be spending the majority of their days in the learning environment. It's predominantly going to be spent working in their project work. So what I want to do now is I want to shift gears here a little bit and talk a little bit about how users can leverage the solution while they're operating within their day-to-day roles. So let's say, for instance, I'm currently working on a Revit project specifically surrounding stairs. I can come out to the solution and I can run a quick search. And now from a searching perspective, we've all used Google search before, we understand the concept of it, but essentially what this is providing users with access to is vetted solutions to help them while they work in particular products. They have the ability to focus on publisher, asset types, or pare it down by the libraries that are available within the solution. So let's say, for instance, I was looking for a video, I can come out here and I can hit play. And essentially what that's going to allow the user to do is to consume this bite-sized information. All of the videos within the solution are going to be 5 minutes or less. So it's going to be bite-sized information, allowing users to find the resources that they need and to get back on their project work. Now, you will note on the right-hand side that all of our videos are going to be transcribed. Essentially what that allows for is two things. It allows the videos to become searchable because the solution is going to search anything that is text-based. And then it also allows your users to jump ahead, find the answers that they need. And for those users that do have a different preferred learning language, it allows this video to be translated to their preferred learning language. Now, let's say, for instance, I'm not interested in a video, I'm more interested in a document. I can go ahead and jump out here to find a resource that's going to be text-based and visual-based, allowing me to read along and find what I need. There are going to be additional related resources if this does not contain what I'm looking for. But as a solution, you are also able to establish internal experts for users to reach out to if they need further clarification. So let's say you have a new hire coming in, they've read this, they still need some clarification on how to operate within this case. They can reach out to those identified individuals for further clarification. As resources do exist within the platform, they can also be shared out via Teams chat by copying a link and throwing it into Teams chat. You can share it via email. You can share it to a work group, which is essentially another way to organize content, which I'll talk about here in a moment. Or you can share it to My Assets. Think about My Assets as a My Favorites. Ultimately, what this allows for is a quick reference point for users as they jump into the solution. So let's say, for instance, I really liked that resource. I can come to my assets. I can see that I've shared that resource here for a quick reference, so I no longer have to search for it. But also what this allows for is for me to download content for offline viewing. The way the solution operates is users can download this content for up to 14 days. They can consume this knowledge offline, and essentially that next time after that expiration occurs, that they connect to the internet, all of that learning data is going to be uploaded to your management utility for allowing those tracking metrics to occur. Users can also upload their own resources if they find it beneficial. It's going to be private to them unless it is otherwise deemed by an administrator to share that resource with other individuals within your organization. But also, let's think about this from a standpoint of something that a user does once a year. Let's say there's a process that's coming up and it's not something you do on a regular basis. Obviously, if you're not doing something on a day-to-day basis, skills erosion is likely to occur. And so within our workflows, you're able to provide step-by-step guidance. So those pieces that may be missed by something you're not doing on a regular basis allows you that opportunity to provide that step-by-step guidance. You can also assign this to specific teams or groups in your organization, allowing those individuals to complete the necessary tasks and steps that are important for them within a specific process. But let's say, for instance, I'm following along with this particular process. As a user, I'm going to come across what are called tool command links. And so let's say, for instance, I select this tool command link. This is going to actually open up in my project work, and it is going to run that command on my behalf in my project. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to open up my Revit here. This is operating that work sharing piece. Let me select here, bear with me 1 second. There we go. So it's operating that work sharing command, and it ran that command on my behalf. So it's ensuring that it's run correctly the first time. Additionally, within users' project work, they're going to have access to what is called the Related Learning Topics plugin. And so this plugin, like the commands, function alongside AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Plant 3D, and Revit. And essentially, as a user, as I select different commands within my ribbon, it is going to generate contextual learning for those users to be able to consume while they're functioning in their project work. The beauty of this is this actually functions without Pinnacle even being open. Organizations have the opportunity to tag their own custom resources to this plugin, ultimately allowing users to see the internal resources that are relevant as well as any learning resources. Now, as a solution, it does sync with Active Directory, and you can establish single sign-on. So if a user is leveraging this plugin and they don't have Pinnacle open, they can go ahead and select that hyperlink and be passed through to Pinnacle Series to begin to consume that knowledge. So it's a really powerful piece for users that are coming in, that may be a new hire or that may be coming fresh out of college that might not have that industry experience. You can really allow them to hone in their project work and get the resources that they need, that just-in-time training that's going to be beneficial for users. Now, thinking in terms of collaboration, within the solution, you are able to establish work groups, and work groups essentially are another way to organize content. So let's say, for instance, you're working on an upcoming project, you're going to share over learning resources, project specifics for a set group of users. It does allow you the opportunity to assign out learning. It's going to host its own discussion board, allowing you to your users to collaborate with one another. But where this stands apart from the rest of the solution is the ability to invite external members. So let's say, for instance, you're working with a contractor or subcontractor, and you need to provide them with access to that work group, the learning resources and project specifics. You have that opportunity to do so. You can set an expiration date for them to lose access to that information, so upon that completion of that project. But ultimately, what this is setting the stage for is to allow you to share out that information, but not allow that contractor or subcontractor to access any of the other proprietary information that you have shared within the solution. Now, this also does host a dashboard here. I like to think of this as a sandbox solution. So whether or not you want to link out to project permits, you want to highlight project timelines, you want to focus on usage, really whatever's going to be beneficial for this select group of people, you're able to leverage the dashboard to fit their needs. Now, as the solution does also allow you to see how users are actually interacting as a whole within the platform. But let's say, for instance, you wanted to see what users are signing in, you have that opportunity. You can see what resources are being accessed or used. So let's say from a content manager perspective, you're spending a lot of time creating videos. You're able to see whether or not those videos are being accessed, or if your users prefer to access documents. And it's a really good indicator on where to spend your time moving forward. In addition, there is also the ability to see what users are searching for. So this is a good indicator to see where you should be spending your time developing content if there is limited resources available, or you can see where to host that next live event session for your users to help upskill them. Now, you are also able to see how users are contributing content. So these are going to be your content managers, your administrators that are pulling in resources, as well as if they're adding or modifying that content and making the adjustments in a timely manner. So that concludes the demonstration piece of this. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the solution here. And what I want to do, or the slide deck, excuse me, is highlight here what asset libraries are going to be included, as well as what is going to be an add-on subscription. Danny, did you want to talk about this piece, or Mike? Do we have a preference?
Nope, go ahead, Nicole.
Okay, all right. So essentially, the standard subscription of our solution is going to include the Autodesk library that we talked about, as well as the titles that are listed here on the left-hand side of the screen. Now, we do have additional libraries such as Adobe, Microsoft, Business and Management, and Health and Safety that are going to be add-ons to the subscription. And the reason for that is, as Danny had alluded to earlier on, we are going to be an organization of predominantly customer success managers, engineers, construction individuals, but we are not experts in Adobe and Microsoft, so we actually work with third-party providers to provide those via the solution. So that is going to be the reasoning for that additional fee. So just kind of wanted to highlight the difference there. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that, Danny?
No, I think that was perfect, Nicole.
Perfect. All right. So we're going to shift gears here a little bit and talk a little bit more about the TPM1 program. Mike, I'll kick it over to you to talk about that.
Great, thanks. What an awesome tour. Thank you, Nicole. What an amazing platform. So we'll wrap things up with TPM1 program features, and then we'll get to your questions. Looks like there's already several in there. And so if you do have additional questions, please feel free to keep typing those in while we wrap things up. So our TPM1 program is offered in 2 different levels. As you can see, we offer it in different levels to right size for your business needs. So our premier level includes productivity tools, accelerated support response time, some exclusive discounts, and portal access. For learning, Premier includes Pinnacle Lite, which is basically a scaled down version with less setup and customization. Our Premier level is really designed for smaller size teams. Our Enterprise program offers the same productivity tools, accelerated response, and portal access, but it also includes additional discounts and access to professional services. So the learning management solution, Pinnacle Series, is also what's included with TPM1 Enterprise. And this program level is really designed for teams of all sizes. So that kind of wraps things up. We'll hop into some questions here. So I've got quite a few. We'll start with some for the Eagle Point team. So one of the questions that we have is, who creates the content?
Yeah, great question. So we have a team of architects and engineers and construction professionals in-house that create all of the majority of our AEC content, and then as
Danny, looks like we lost you. Nicole, you want to take over?
Well, yeah, I sure can. So like Danny was alluded to, it is going to be a team of architecture, engineering, construction individuals that are staying up to date with the resources that are being provided. In addition, we do get early access from Autodesk because we work very closely with Autodesk, so we can ensure that as releases are coming out, we're able to provide that.
I mentioned we have some licensed products as well that are created by outside.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's really one of the things that stands out to me. I know back in industry, like just trying to find answers to questions and trying to find solutions. I mean, there's so many resources out there, YouTube, and you can go Google things, but you don't know the quality of the content and the answers and solutions that you're gonna be getting. So having direct access to quick, concise, you're getting the right answers is incredibly valuable. Next question is, can I get a list of content that's available? So I've got a link that I can post here in the chat in just a second. So I'll get that out to everybody that's on the call. How up to date is the content? You want to field that one, Nicole?
Yeah, of course. So we are currently on a 90-day cycle. So when new releases of content are pushed out, we are aiming to have that readily available in our customer hands as soon as that's being released.
Great. Next question is, are your courses accredited?
They're so it's state by state specific. So what we've had in the past is users have the ability to essentially download their transcript of what they've completed and submit it to an accrediting body for professional development hours and continuing education units. So it depends state by state specific.
Great, thanks. Let's see, next question. Can I add my own custom content?
You sure can. All organizations have the ability to upload any custom content that they've already created into the solution.
Awesome. And I also, one of the things that I really like about the solution is the ability to customize for your own company's industry standards, the way that you guys leverage workflows specifically for your business needs, to be able to leverage existing standards and duplicate those and then tailor them to the way that each individual company does business. Great. A couple of questions for me here. So what do you mean by professional services included in TPM1 Enterprise? So our enterprise program, for every CAD user, you get a half hour per user per year that gets combined together for your whole organization to leverage and access direct access to our team of technical experts. So our customer base uses that for things like custom training, workflow consulting, template creation, standards development, customization of content that's inside of the platform. So those are all great ways that you can leverage our team for professional services. And there's also a 20% discount on all instructor-led training engagements. So as part of our approach to comprehensive learning, not just providing on-demand content, but also providing instructor-led professional services and any other scope services that we offer, that discount is applicable to that as well. Another question, we renew our software every 3 years. How does that work with the TPM1 program? So the program renews with your Autodesk software subscription, and so you gain full access to the entire program benefits immediately upon your renewal, as soon as that's processed. If your renewal is a little bit further out and you're looking to gain immediate access to the program, just connect with your renewals manager or your account manager, and we'll get you a prorated proposal so that we can get you set up and leveraging the solution right away. Another question, we already have CAD Learning. Will that stop working? No, the CAD Learning definitely is not going to stop working. You still have access to that until the expiration date of your current subscription, and at that point we'll get you transitioned over to Pinnacle Solutions. But of course, again, if you're looking to make that transition sooner and get you set up and start leveraging this great new platform right away, just reach out to our team and we'll get you set up. Let's see. Can I get access to the platform to try out? Yes, we do offer a trial. So you can reach out to experience@tpm.com, or there'll be a follow-up to this webinar with the recording and some messaging from our team. So you can feel free to respond to that messaging as well. So experience@tpm.com, or respond to that messaging, and we'll get you set up with a trial or evaluation version so you can get your hands on both Pinnacle and Kobe Labs. So looks like that's all the questions that we have. So we'll wrap things up here. We're looking forward to working with you and your team to get you transitioned to Pinnacle Series solutions. And I want to thank everyone for attending and thank our co-hosts here from Eagle Point.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.